Hey YouTube, this is Gary from My Sacred Honor. You know, when I was a boy, I grew up in the 1960s. I was born in 1959. Born in the San Francisco Bay Area, Haight-Ashbury. The hippies, the free love, the drug-infested, pot-smoking, grew up around where the Zodiac was doing his things. In fact, many of the people that he had killed were my age. There was that fear. You had Charles Manson, Onion Field Killers. Had all these weird things going on at once, with the whole movement. You had the Weather Underground, SLA. Remember Tom Hayden? Jane Fonda. They actually ended up married. What a marriage made in hell. But while that was happening, there were some old timers, people that didn't cross that line of weirdness, that stood on the line, biblically stood in the gap, and said, no, that's wrong. And then when the homosexual movement, because I remember that too, Stonewall, when that all happened, they said, no, that's odd behavior. That's ungodly, and that's wrong behavior. You ought not to do that. And then people started living together, and like today, most of our children are bastards. Now, some people celebrate that. I don't. I find that sad, that a child is born outside of wedlock and more than likely is going to be raised by another father. So that whole mom-dad scenario never plays out in their life. I say that because I grew up basically without a father. Mine was a pretty horrific feller that couldn't handle his liquor and just wasn't around, and probably for good reasons. So, but there was always somebody standing in the gap, saying, Well, all that crap that happened way back when, they never stopped. They kept on pushing. They took the minds of the children. I mean, I don't even relate to people my age, because they're a bunch of titty-sucking, government-dependent people. They can't think for themselves. I'm so thankful. I wrestled when I was in high school, and I wrestled pretty high caliber. And I'm pretty lucky that I did, because I never cracked a book, and graduated 7th in my class, and that is 7th from the bottom. And there were retarded people that graduated higher grade GPA than I did. And and I'm so thankful that I didn't, because they didn't grab my mind. They thought I was a lost cause. And I'm so thankful that they didn't grab my mind. And then when I went to college, when I was older, I was a free thinking man. And they couldn't grab it then either. Because when they told me something that was full of bullshit, being a man and not an 18-year-old child, turned around and said, I'm calling you on that. That's bullcrap. What do you mean? Hey, by the way, I read this book and that contradicts that. What the hell are you saying? And I engaged them in critical thinking and logic. They didn't just spew it out like they were. Well, who can't dismantle? What 50-year-old man can't dismantle an 18-year-old child? I am so thankful in my life that they didn't grab my mind. I told you in my other videos, I don't watch TV. I haven't seen TV 15, more than that, probably closer to 20 years. And I've seen it, I mean, from afar, from other people's houses. But it doesn't grab me because, I mean, I don't want nothing grabbing my mind. You see, that's where freedom evolves from. I was just watching a video from Vision Victory. I agree with a lot of what he says. I like the young man. He's a smart kid, really smart. And he's watching his P's and Q's and what he says because he's afraid the federal government is going to jump down his throat. And he's probably got a pretty good reason to believe that, because I had a subscriber, I won't mention his name, but he wrote to me and he said, "Hey, Gary, 2 federal agents came out to me because of a gun video I put out. What do I do?" Now, I suggested get a lawyer and never talk to people. They want to check your house away, tell them to get a warrant. We've changed. I haven't. But America, you've changed. And I weep for you. That's not hyperbole. When I was a boy, I knew men who fought in World War I. I'm not talking about, "Hi, Mr. Jones." I knew them. They were an awesome cut of a man. I knew people in World War II. And you know what? They were an awesome cut of a man. Different than today. They were awesome people. And they loved their freedoms. And they loved their voice. They did. And they used their voice. If you were to teach their kids how to strap a condom on a cucumber, they would have hit you. So what the hell's wrong with you? You would have called the cops. The cops would have looked at you and hit you too and said, "What the hell's wrong with you, man?" It was clear. Life was clear. Get the hell out of my way, I'm making a living. Got a family to raise. Johnny, don't do that. You don't stick your dick in there. Sorry for the vulgarity, I mean, but it was clear. There was no misguidance. There was no... See, we want to think we're somehow different, better than the people that came before us. I don't think so. I knew the people that came before us. Yeah, there's pieces of shit back then. Not as a whole, though. Hard-working people. Yeah, some people cheated on their wives, but not as a whole. Divorce was less common. People got married, not only because, "Hey man, I find you sexy, baby," but can she get in the harness with me and pool all day? Yeah, that woman. That's the one I need. Can she bear children? Is she going to be a good mom? Is he going to be a good provider? Is he going to be a good dad? Yeah. I'll get in the harness with that person and pool all day long. And we have a little fun on the way. I weep for this country. Because it's changed. It's gotten ugly. It's gotten nasty. It's kind of like Back to the Future. You know, the second one, when he wakes up and the whole world's upside down. That's what it feels like to me. It's nasty. What are you doing to change it? This is Gary. Take care.